my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Workshop, holding a creation. Guess what? Something's playing in the background. Let me kill that, whatever that is. I tell you, I can't win for losing sometimes. Oh my goodness. Always got some kind of something going on. Holding up one of my creations here. This is that Scottish 12 string that never got to Scotland. Anyway, it's a really nice guitar. I'm just as happy to keep it myself, you know. And there's a look at the peg head. I'm not going to show it up real close because it has that fella's name on it. But anyway, it's a real nice guitar. I thought I'd just play a little bit on it for you to hear it and maybe just sing a little tune or something. I can't play a regular guitar, let alone a 12 string. From where I stand, I can see all the lights of the city. For one man to love one woman so much, it's a pity. From where I stand, I can see the cantina she goes to, where she's not supposed to, but goes anyway. From where I stand, I can hear the music and laughter. Camilla tells me that's what her young heart is after. I see it differently, I see her there with a man. Camilla is lying, I see it from where I stand. From where I stand, I can see the smiles on their faces. The music plays on as I watch their tender embraces. From where I stand, I can see her dress as it's swaying, and it seems to be waving goodbye to me. From where I stand, I can hear the music and laughter. Camilla tells me that's what her young heart is after. But I see it differently, I see her there with a man. Camilla's lying, I see it from where I stand. Camilla is lying, I see it from where I stand. Anyway, I'm pretty proud of that guitar. I made the bridge from scratch. It's not as easy to make a 12-string bridge as it is a 6-string bridge. Some of you may not think it's easy to make a 6-string bridge, but you ought to try a 12. Okay, laid that thing out of the way. And got quite a few things to discuss, talk about, and complain about. All that good stuff. I took my last meloxicam dose last Thursday. That's my arthritis medicine. That is not adding to the quality of my life right now. Got pretty sore over the weekend working on stuff, and more sore than usual. But anyway, we'll see where that goes. I think I'm going to have to get a doctor's appointment, and you know how hard that is to do these days. And my thing is, and I know it's going to sound really stupid to most of you, I just hate to talk on the phone. I hate to pick up the phone and call. I know that sounds stupid, but I spent 27 and a half years all day long, every day on the phone, and I'm just sick of it. If I never talk on the phone again, I'd be just tickled to death. Now, I like my smartphone, don't get me wrong, but I don't like to talk on it. But I'm going to be forced into it here. Plus, whenever you call something like that, you're always on hold, and it just drives me nuts. Got some letters from a couple of fans here. I thought I'd read them to you. I mean, I get lots and lots and lots of these, but I just picked out these two. I thought every once in a while I'll read a couple of them, These are real nice. This first one is from John Clarity. Says, "Hi, Jerry. You missed your calling. You are such a great teacher. I have watched many, many hours of your videos, and your smooth voice is easy on the ears. You definitely know what you're doing. I'm 69 years old, a musician of 61 years, and have started my own instrument repair service. I have learned tons of things through your videos. I was a professional cabinet maker, but cabinets are too heavy to work with anymore. Thanks for your videos, and I'll definitely watch them till I die." Well, thank you, and I hope that's a long way off. And then he added another little note that says, I'm your second biggest fan because someone's always ahead of me. Then I got another note here from, looks like Mike Pratt. It says, "Thank you for your quick response." He apparently bought the mandolin lesson, I think, and I sent him a different link or something. He couldn't get it to work. He says, "I retired 4 years ago and came across your channel about 3 years ago. I really enjoy your work and your work ethic. I'm a retired machinist from aerospace industry. I took the same pride and workmanship in training others. Like you, my hands hurt, and the time too, it makes tasks challenging. He says, "After watching your videos, I've set up my own guitars with confidence. I have been trying to learn guitar and banjo for the past 30 years, but I was mostly working all the time. I'm taking your advice and taking your mandolin method, hoping I will be able to make guitar and banjo playing similar." Yeah, simpler. Yes, I think it will help you. I hope it does. He goes on to say, "I will close to keep this short and thank you for educating people and on all your endeavors. There is always many things to learn from you." Well, thank you, my friend Mike. I appreciate it very much. But I do get lots of letters and notes like that. People are often saying you need to get another apprentice. I honestly feel like I have thousands of apprentices. I'm not doing this. I'm not patting myself on the back. I just, based on the feedback, that's just the way it feels, and I'm really probably the most proud that people are getting something out of the videos. I kind of wish I could still be doing that, but I don't trust myself to do it that much anymore. I drop everything like 10 times. I can't hold on to nothing. And, you get over a real expensive instrument and you drop something, it's just not really a good thing. So, handwriting's on the wall. But anyway, thanks to John and Mike there for those wonderful letters. I appreciate it. And thanks to all those others that send letters all the time. And I usually try to reply, but I don't necessarily read them online here. Some of you may have saw my little short I put out. And if you didn't, I'm going to make you watch it right now. My friends, I would rush out and get you a Samsung side-by-side refrigerator with the dual ice maker, one up here and one down there, because this thing doubles as a time machine. I bet you didn't know that. Yeah, it will transport you back to the 1920s before you can make your own ice cubes. I couldn't tell you how many times I've had to go through this. This particular time, we started at 1 o'clock. You can see now it is now 3 o'clock. I'm on my 5th defrost cycle, and I've spent the last full 2 hours with the heat gun in there. And guess what? I can now open it up 2 inches. Woohoo! In case you don't want to go back in time, it will transport you to Venice, Italy as well, because this thing sucks canal water. Woohoo! Samsung, get you one! Want to ask me how I feel about it? I think I put in the description of that video, Samsung, I'll take this video down if you fix the problem, or send me a new unit, one of the two. Otherwise, deal with it. That's what I said in my comments. I tell you what, you pay $3,000 or $4,000 for something that's just a piece of junk. I mean, it keeps the food cold. It does that part real well. The freezer part and the refrigerator part work great. But the ice maker part, they're constantly freezing up, just constantly. And, that Rosa luck thing. Well, I ordered a new, quote-unquote, redesigned ice maker. Guess what? It was about that much too short. I mean, it was like 4 inches shorter than the other one. And it's like, I just unwrapped it and went, well, this ain't going to fit. I could tell by looking at it, it wasn't going to fit. The connection points to hold it up in the thing were in the wrong place. They weren't going to work. So I just boxed it up, sent it back, or haven't actually mailed it back yet, but it's boxed up. So I went through all of that to put in the new ice maker, and that worked really well. Anyway, and then some more good luck is that, our Tuesday gigs at the restaurant, the barbecue place, they may be coming to an end. Not because of the restaurant or anything like that, but because of ASCAP. ASCAP actually acts like the first part of their name. They're just money machines. They're just money hungry. They're just greedy as they can be. Don't get me wrong. I totally agree with the concept and the idea of paying the artists for using their material, but they don't do that. I mean, the people at the top of the ASCAP are getting rich, and the artists are making money. Don't get me wrong, especially the big artists, but they don't distribute the money. If you get right down to it, there's no way they could know how to distribute the money properly. I mean, the songs we play that we're paying $570 some a year to do it. That's what I'm paying right now to ASCAP to be able to perform and do that. $570 some. It's ridiculous. And, I told them, I said, we've cut this back to only, they sent me a letter about it, and they put a finance charge in there and everything. And I said, look, I didn't even get a bill. I don't know why you're, charging so much. I said, number one, and plus we've cut back to playing half as much. And our audiences are really small. 20 people is probably a typical audience, if that many. And, and I made these concerns. I said, I feel like we should get an adjustment. He sends back a reply that basically is exactly the same thing he said on the first letter. He didn't even address a single thing I said. So I just wrote back to him and said, look, you didn't address a single comment I made. And until you start treating me like an individual, I'm not paying nothing. And I said, if we have to, we'll just quit playing there. That's the way I feel about it. And then they won't make nothing, So kiss my where. I just don't deal well with people that don't deal well. And there you go. Well, you saw my Samsung time machine. How about looking at the status of the martins now? I think the babies have fledged, and I think they're flying. There's a few martins flying up high. I don't hardly see any right now, but there's a sparrow sitting on there, and I think there's a martin sitting right on top. But yesterday I saw about 30 martins flying, so I have a feeling the babies are flying now. Here's a bunch of them flying around through over here. I don't know if the camera's going to pick up those little tiny birds flying. But anyway, there's quite a few flying right now. Now that I look at it, I see maybe 15 or so in the air, maybe 20. I think they're coming back because I'm close to their nest. Anyway, I think it won't be long that they'll be leaving, and unfortunately the horseflies will be coming back. Yeah, it's good and bad. I'm glad they raised a nice big clutch of birds. I mean, there was probably at least 30 of them flying yesterday, maybe 40. I don't know. There was a bunch of them flying. And anyway, the sad thing is when they leave, the horseflies come in droves. The horseflies here are almost like mosquitoes somewhere else. I'm seriously telling you. And if you don't know what a horsefly is, take a regular housefly, multiply its size by about 5 or 6 times, every bit of that, and when they bite, they hurt. Let me tell you, they bite. But they look just like that. I mean, they look just like a housefly that's just on steroids, huge. And they don't feel good when they bite. Let's see. Here's what occupied, I guess, the vast majority of my time over the weekend. Well, my friends, this is wall number 2. You can see this one's going to have a nice big picture window in it. And it's framed out. Now I've just got to put the siding on it. I already carried the other wall down and set it in the general spot where it's going to go. This just takes time. It's not that hard to do. It's just time consuming. Those are the windows that are going to go in there. I'm going to put 2 windows like that, and I'm just going to hinge the windows, and they're just going to swing open, swing to the inside, I think. Well, here's my main accomplishment over the weekend. I got this wall moved down here and just sat roughly in place, and this wall sat roughly in place. Got it built from scratch, of course. I had not built that yet, and you can see kind of what it looks like from this side. I don't know if I can show you from this side what it looks like or not. Yeah, I guess I can go around there. It's kind of steep over here. Let me get in a place where I can turn around. There you go. And you can see that we've got, trim around where the window's going to be. And it's going to look pretty good once we're done. And you can see it's quite a bit taller than this rock wall. The rock wall is going to have a small wooden wall on top. Now, I let this run wild, so it's quite a bit taller than it needs to be. Probably almost half of that above the window will be cut off. So this wall won't be as tall as that. But anyway, and the water wheel just keeps turning. It was really mossed up there. There was a lot of moss hanging off of it. Kind of that slimy green moss that you get when you're fishing and stuff. And I pulled most of that off. But anyway, it just keeps doing its thing. Yeah, not a big flow of water right now. I think there's no dew on the Ranger. We may get rain today. I think Sue said the weather guessers were thinking there might be rain today. Let's go over and look at the Ranger and see if there was any dew on it. I didn't think about it, but I don't think there was because I didn't have to wipe it down. Usually there's dew on the seat and all kinds of things. No, I think it's completely dry, so that means we're probably going to get a rain today. Yeah, see, there's no water on it at all. Yeah, almost guaranteeing rain today. There's a look at that serene, smooth pond that I think it was DE doesn't want me to break that glassy look with a fountain out there. But the fountain will also aerate the pond a little bit, which they claim is really good for the fish and all that. So I don't know, one way or the other. Yeah, well, I think today, if my arthritis will let me, I'm going to try to build that third wall on the base floor down there on the lower level, of course. I'm going to have a second level on top of all that. But the third wall will have a door in it, and the door has glass windows, a glass window area that looks very similar to those windows I'm putting in that large window. So it should match and tie together. Anyway, that's the status of all that. That's a lot of work, let me tell you, building that thing. And you're bent over building it on the ground, and that's pretty much the way you always build walls. You build them laying down on the ground, then you stand them up. I mean, some people do build them in place, but you try to avoid that if you can, because that's even a longer drawn out process. And especially when you don't have anything to anchor anything to, like the way I'm doing it. So I'm building it in the air-conditioned shop, which does help a lot, especially in this kind of heat and humidity. And then I just take the Bobcat there with the forks and pick it up and drive it up there, and then move it over in place. They're pretty heavy. They're pretty darn heavy walls. I have to have JR help me, and it's about all the two of us can do to move them into place, because with that siding on them, they get pretty darn heavy. I mean, think about how many boards you're lifting at a time there. It's a lot of boards. So anyway, and of course, all of that lumber, all of it was cut on my sawmill that I built. And for those of you who maybe do and don't know about that, I did build a sawmill totally from scratch. It's a bandsaw sawmill, and I have no plans for it. I mean, in terms of written plans is what I mean. I didn't have any plans when I built it. I just started building, and I would build one part, and then I'd go, yeah, well, now I think I could build this next part, and it'd probably be like this, and then I'd build the next part and think it would go like this. And overall, it turned out really good. I'm pretty darn happy with it. I guess the only slight negative is the speed of the up and down. It's slow up and down, but other than that, it's really pretty good. And even the up and down, I've improved that some. It's considerably faster than when I first built it, but it could be faster. But it's a private sawmill just for my own private use, and I don't plan to go commercial with it, so it's perfect for what I'm doing with it. Anyway, and it's very accurate. It saws really accurate lumber, considering it's rough sawed, Let's see. John Pepper was the number one up there, and Rod Wentler and Eddie Turner and Timothy Werblow and David Thorpe, and he has a question mark there that says, wife texts husband on a cold winter morning, windows frozen, won't open. He texts back, pour lukewarm water on it and gently tap the edge with a hammer. She computer really messed up now. Okay. Windows froze up. Sometimes I'm slow. I tell you, reading is really tough for me. It's really tough. Putting all the thoughts together just doesn't work very well for me. I'm a hands-on kind of guy. I'm not a reading kind of guy. That's another reason probably why I didn't need plans for building the sawmill. I've got it all up here. Whenever I'm building, just like that down there, I don't have any plans for that. I just have it up here in my brain, and I just build it and then move on to the next part and build that, That's just the way I do stuff. Dottie Hildebrand, prayers for all the Rosa groups. Thank you. Yeah, I'm hoping I can get some meloxicam. Dottie Hildebrand, what has a mouth and never eats? What runs and never stops? What starts and never stops? Aha. Her next thing is a river. Yep, there you go. Bill Webb, good morning, Jerry and friends. Back home in Commerce, Texas. Thanks for an awesome visit. It's always fun time at Valley Springs Ranch. Well, we're always glad to have you, Bill, and you and Ramona. We had a good time, and again, thank you for that wonderful dinner. Bill Rhodes, good morning, Gary. Have you heard a new song was Willie Nelson and Billy Strings? So apparently they must have collaborated on a song. I don't think I've heard it yet, especially if it's new. Seems like I heard them do something together once. But if they've got something new out, I haven't heard it. Then moving on down, I think Vic Flowers is the next one I see. He says, Jerry, just wanted to thank you for spending time showing my grandsons your shop and historical items found on your farm. They said that was more fun than anything we did on the trip. Thanks again. Well, cool. That's nice to hear. Tell them boys to get busy on that mandolin, because they need to learn how to play a stringed instrument. I mean, those brass instruments are great, but they just don't work as well around a campfire. You know what I mean? Let's see. Vic Flowers, by the way, the episodes on my Alvarez mandolin were RSW 583, parts 1 through 5. Okay, I'll have to go back and refresh my memory because I don't remember none of that stuff. It's in one ear and out the other. You would think I would remember all that stuff, but I only remember a few. The ones that were super, super outstanding, like, chocolate, and like the guy that poured the bottle of glue down inside the guitar and the firecrackers. And another one I remember is the Regal Wreck, because it had a giant hole in the top, and we were able to disguise it. You couldn't even tell it after we were done. So anyway, and that guitar, as far as I know, is still going well. I heard maybe a year or so ago, I heard from the guy, and he says it's still playing it. So, by the way, on that 12-string that I played there, that's been 3 years since I built that. It doesn't seem like it could have been that long, but it's 3 years. In fact, it was 3 years in June. So those strings are 3 years old too, by the way. And they didn't get any playing, so they're real dead compared to the way it would sound if I had new strings on it. But who's going to put new strings on a 12-string to just let it sit there? Dottie Hildebrandt, thanks, Bill Webb. You had a safe trip home? Yep. I'm sure he did. Let's see. Vic Flowers. Also, Jerry, I stopped by the acoustic shop after leaving your place and got one of their Eastman mandolins. It's several steps above my Alvarez and Morgan Monroe. Yeah, Eastmans are good mandolins. I really do have to say I don't remember seeing one that I didn't like. All of the Eastmans that come in, usually you can't usually say that about any particular brand. Like Alvarez, I've seen a few good Alvarez and, quite a few that were just mediocre at best. And same way with, almost all the rest of them. Morgan Monroe, I've seen a few good ones. Some of them are just not that great. And pretty much every brand you can name like that. Kentucky, same way. A lot of Kentuckys were good, but they weren't all good, And but on Eastman's, I haven't seen a bad one. I mean, I really haven't. That's very unusual. That's very unusual. So I don't know what they do to get their quality up there, but they seem to have it up there. Let's see. Moving on down. A lot of comments. I don't see any question marks. Looks like after we went live here. David Tharp, I wanted to buy some camouflage pants, but I couldn't find any. Let's see. I did get that one, by the way. Charles Salkwitz, nice playing sound, new veneer without fellow's name, a good laser project for Jerry's 12-string. Yeah, I should probably make a new truss rod cover there, but I've got a few other things to do. But, yep, I should do that. Let's see. Dottie Hildebrandt, I'd rather talk than to text on the phone. See, I just don't like talking on the phone. I mean, I spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, all day long, every day. And most of it was taking complaints and problems, and I just absolutely would rather be shot in the head as to have to talk on the phone. I hate talking on the phone. I really do. Gary Hayes, West Virginia Hillbilly. Jerry, I love that song From Where I Stand. Cannot brag on it enough. Well, thank you, Gary. That was my 40-year song. Most of you know that, or 30-year song. I started writing that when I was 18. Didn't remember that I had started writing it. And now I'm 28. And at 18, I barely played anything. I could barely play 3 chords on a guitar. I can still barely play 3 chords on a guitar if you really want to know the truth. But back then, I mean, I didn't play music in general. I just played a little bit on a guitar and could strum a few chords, and that was it. Didn't know nothing about music for sure at 18. And so then about 28, I got interested in playing. I started playing the mandolin, and I first tried to play the fiddle. I tried playing fiddle every single day for like 6 months and decided I was not a fiddle player. I mean, every day I practiced it. I tried every day, and it just wasn't getting that much better. And I just finally gave up and went to the mandolin. And because, the fingering is basically the same, so I was thinking that might be good, I'm also distracted because I now see that light's on back there, but I guess we'll just live with it. I'll turn my headrest that way. Anyway, so the mandolin came to me pretty darn quick, but every time I would pick up the mandolin and start practicing, that darn song would come in my head, and it sounded like a Marty Robbins song, and I did not know where it came from because, it was 10 years before when I first started writing it, and I just couldn't remember writing it. And so I started searching for that darn song. I sent letters to his fan club, Marty Robbins fan club. I talked to all the DJs I knew, and I knew quite a few. I knew 3 or 4 DJs at the time, and asked every one of them, and every single one of them said, "Oh yeah, that's an old Marty Robbins number. I'm sure it is. I'm sure I've heard that, that kind of thing." That's the answer I got. Nobody ever said it. Yeah, that's this, and it's on this album, or nobody ever gave me anything specific. It was all general. Yeah, I think that's got to be Marty, So. Now, that was at 28. Well, 38, I'm still looking. Now 48. I'm 48 years old now, and I still haven't found this song, and I'm still looking for the darn song. And finally, I think to ask my brother, Scott. Now, keep in mind, when I was 18, Scott was 10. He was playing the piano on the back porch. And that's why I was writing the song, because he was playing the piano as I was writing the song. And anyway, I asked him about it. I sang what I could remember of it, and he goes, "Well, I know where it came from." And then he starts cussing at me and telling me I'm some kind of a stupid idiot. He says, "You don't remember, you idiot? You wrote it." And I go, "I did?" He goes, "Yeah, we were on the back porch, and I was playing the piano, and you were writing that song. You don't remember that?" I go, "Oh, yeah. Now that you say it, I remember it." So it took me 30 years to finish it, and I finished it right away. Then, it only took me another 15 minutes to finish the song once I knew it was my song to finish, But anyway, it's kind of a silly thing, but it really did happen, and that's how it happened. Yeah, when I first started writing it, I do remember that the idea was, hey, I think I'll send this to Marty Robbins, And it wasn't long after that. I don't remember how long after that, but he died, I think wasn't he killed in a car wreck, or was that somebody else? I don't remember. But anyway, he died. And, then obviously I didn't worry about it at that point. Let's see. Dottie Hildebrandt, mighty fine chirp there, Jerry. Well, thank you. Let's see. Bill Webb. Oh, my goodness, Jerry. How I really feel about it. Yeah, about the refrigerator. Yeah, it does suck canal water on its best day. Paul Akers, how often do you have to defrost the Samsung? I'm once a monther. I would be too, but I generally just let that one freeze up and don't even worry about it. It's probably been a year since I defrosted it. We've been a year without ice in the top. Now, the bottom kept making ice, but recently it froze up again. I mean, that's the second or third time the bottom's froze up. It doesn't freeze up as often as the top. So we just been using the bottom, because it's just less hassle. And I really thought I was going to fix it this time, and of course, with the Rosa luck, they're getting the wrong part. And I'm positive I compared the number and everything, and there's a bait and switch thing, where like you're looking for one thing and all of a sudden they switch some other product in front of you, and you don't notice it, and that's probably what happened. And I got the wrong product is really probably what happened. It's aggravating. Anyway, Ronald Todd says, thanks to Jerry's videos and vlogs, I have purchased a new mandolin and adjusted the string height and intonation, also the bridge, with no trouble. Thanks, Jerry. You're welcome. I'm glad it worked for you. John Burnworth, please tell David T. that the camo pants are next to the invisible tape. That's funny. Well, it just scrolled, and I don't know where I'm at. Yeah, it must have scrolled further than I thought. Gee whiz. Yeah, okay, I found it. Zappa, to swat a horsefly, you need a tennis racket. Bill Webb says, Ramona still has a scar on her leg from the horsefly bite from the visit before. Yeah, while the martins are here, generally speaking, we don't have, I think I've seen 2 horseflies now. I saw one just this week. Matter of fact, just this weekend, I killed one in the shop. And that's probably the reason he was in the shop, is he got away from the martins. But if he's outside, I'm pretty sure the martins are getting them. That's martins, people, the myth is that they eat mosquitoes. Now, they do eat some mosquitoes. They eat pretty much any bug for the most part. But they like big flying insects more than they like anything. And they eat dragonflies, which, some people say dragonflies eat mosquitoes. And whether that's true or not, I don't know. But lots of people say that. So I'm just assuming it's true. But so it's kind of ironic that they eat dragonflies, which, are supposedly helping to keep the mosquito population down. But anyway, martins, they know for sure now that they do eat more large insects than they do mosquitoes. The mosquito myth was perpetuated by the guy up in Griggsville, Illinois, which is really the purple martin capital, or at least the self-proclaimed purple martin capital of the world. In fact, they've just got purple martin boxes all the way up and down the streets and everywhere. Plus, that's where the factory was to build those big, apartment houses that you see, the Martin apartment houses. And he was selling apartment houses is what he was doing and it says on the side of his building, it says, Purple martins eat 2,000 mosquitoes a day. I'm going, 2,000 mosquitoes a day? I don't think so. That's a little bit of a stretch, I think. I even thought that when the first time I saw it, and then after I learned that they've had all kinds of cameras on purple martins nowadays, with the micro cameras and stuff, and they're eating large insects way more than they're eating mosquitoes. Anyway, enough of that. Let's see. Dottie Hildebrand, beautiful view from that window in the wall you made. Yeah, I think it's going to be nice, and especially on the upstairs, it's going to have that same window too. Jerry, can't you just have the pharmacist call your doctor to get a prescription? Yeah, I think we tried that the last time, and he wouldn't do it. He says, I need to come in for a visit or something, and the problem is just getting in is the problem. And I think the last time I just talked to my friend who is a doctor, Dr. Spadero, and I think he called it in for me. And I hate to ask him to do that again. But I might. I don't know. He doesn't seem to mind doing it. It's just that I hate to ask favors. I'm not a favor asking person. I almost never ask a favor of anybody if I can avoid it. Let's see. David Tharp, I had to stop meloxicam altogether because of stomach bleeding, but it did help for a while. Yeah, there's people that apparently do have some reaction to it. I'm on 15 milligrams, I think is what it is, and I asked the doctor if I could increase that, and he said, no, you cannot increase it. So, and anyway, because it's bad on I think it's bad on either your liver or your kidneys or something, and but I seem to be able to tolerate it just fine. It doesn't seem to give me any side effects whatsoever. At least that's the way it seems right now anyway. Of course, you never know what stuff medicines are doing to you. You never know. Gary Hayden, you have a beautiful place to live, Jerry. I've been to Missouri once. I noticed the wineries are a big thing out there. Yeah, there are, especially around... there's different places now. There more places have come up with them. St. James, even real close here, is big on the wineries. But Augusta, Missouri, and Hermann, Missouri, especially, are big on the wineries and things. They're wasted on me. I don't do any of that. But we have played music at some of those wineries, several of them, in fact. At all three of those towns, we've played music at the wineries. Zappa, my sister once removed ice buildup from her headlights with a small hammer. Bad mistake. Preston Johnson, explain about why you have to pay ASCAP to play music. Because they tell you have to, and that's really the bottom line. Once they find out you're playing music in a public place, they will hound you to death and threaten lawyers and all kinds of stuff. It's a pain in the ass. Pardon me, I didn't mean to say that, but yeah, it's a real pain. It's a real pain. Yeah, and again, I don't mind paying my part. I do not, but I want it to be reasonable, and I want it to balance out. Just like I want to be paid for my YouTube videos, I want that to balance out. I don't mind sharing it. But why should they get it all? That doesn't make sense at all. That doesn't make sense at all. So, I'm totally a fair kind of guy. If you say, well, you owe me 10% of that, I go, fine. You can have your 10%. I don't have a problem with that. But let's make it fair and let's make it equitable. To just arbitrarily say we owe $570 some, first of all, I don't even think we play that many songs. If you went to the radio, I think they pay something like 3 cents per airplay or something like that. Well, I mean, it would take a whole lot of us playing to get up to $570 at 3 cents per song. You know what I'm saying? And plus, our audiences are very low. That ought to have an impact. We're only playing twice a month. That ought to have an impact. But they don't seem to care. Once they start billing you for something, you're going to pay that no matter what, and they don't listen to you. They don't do nothing, So probably, and I'm seriously telling you, I think that I'm going to kill it after this. We're going to be there this Tuesday, and I think I'm just going to announce it. It's over with. Thank you all for coming. At least that's where I feel like I'm at right now. I don't know. I may change by Tuesday, by tomorrow, but that's where I'm at right now. Trevor Owen, Leon was knocking it out of the park the other night. What's his background, Jerry? He plays like a pro. Well, he's a real musician. He's one of those musicians. I mean, seriously, truly, he is. He's a electrical engineer is what he is, but he's pretty much a perfectionist on his music, whereas I just do it for fun. I can't really say I'm a perfectionist on it at all. In fact, I know I'm not. I'm not even close. But he is, he can play a lot of the music that he hears note for note, and me, I just get in the ballpark. I don't play it note for sure. But he can play just about anything with strings on it. I have never heard him play a violin or fiddle, but pretty much everything else. He can play the tar out of a dobro. He can play, flat top guitar. He just eats it alive. I mean, he is so good on a flat top guitar, it would blow your mind. He's obviously just that good on the banjo. Banjo, I would say, is his main instrument, but I'm not even sure that's true. The guitar might be his main instrument. I really don't know what he would say is his main instrument. He can play electric guitar, and like those old-time country songs that, like the kickoff to something that Tammy Wynette would sing, or George Jones, or Patsy Cline. He knows them note for note. He can play them, man. And I mean, it sounds just like the record, It's amazing. He is one talented musician. He's incredible, just incredible. And I can't believe he's played with me that long. He's been playing with me since, well, really even the mid-'80s. We used to jam a lot together. But then I formed my band in 91, and he's been in and out of the band since 91, mostly in the band. But there was a few years there where his work was really busy, and he was out for a while. But most of the time he's been in the band, and even before that, he and I both played together with one of his friends. Ron Peterson had a band called Main Street, and we played in his band for, I don't know, a couple of years, I guess. And Ron Peterson was independently wealthy. I mean, this guy had a helicopter, a 6-passenger jet. He had, one of those really nice, almost like Silver Eagle motorhomes. And so we'd be traveling in that, going to our gigs, It was pretty cool. We'd pull in, and everybody's eyes would turn to that thing pulling into the festival ground, And everybody thought we were something. And we were just an average we were decent, but we were just an average, decent bluegrass band's all we were. But it was pretty funny. Good times. Anyway, let's see. Moving on down. Let's see. Joseph White, would you ever build another custom instrument for anyone? It's highly doubtful. Maybe for my grandkids or something. That'd be about it, Zappa, today's digital phones make it difficult to have a conversation due to the one-way communications. You both cannot speak at the same time. Yeah, I agree with that. It drives you nuts. The freeze. I agree about the fiddle. If it doesn't use a pick, I can't play it. I just sitting here nursing that broken leg. Yeah, Jerry Freeze broke his leg. I forget what he said he was doing at the time. I want to say feeding the chickens or something. I forget what he said he was doing. But anyway, hope it mends quickly. The spoken song, Marty Robbins passed away in 1982 from a heart attack. He had heart issues. That's right. Yeah, I got him mixed up with somebody else that died in I was thinking he was into race cars or something, and he died in a race car accident, but I think that was another famous person that I had it mixed up with. Yeah, Skeeter Hawks. Bruce Ducker says they call dragonflies Skeeter Hawks. Yeah, I've heard that term too. The Outboard Tinkerer. Hi, Jerry. Did my first violin neck removal used a teapot, again, inspired by your videos. Well, good. Hope it works for you, and hope it went real well. Bill Webb, we had to pay for some type of license to be able to play praise music at the church. Yeah, ASCAP is relentless. They don't give up. They really don't. I've heard that from lots and lots and lots of people over the years. They will just eat you alive. Dottie Hillebrand, since you pay money to ASCAP, what's their problem? Do they want more money? Well, they just billed me more than they've been billing me, $570 some dollars. And, had we kept playing at the same rate we were playing, once every week, then maybe that's okay. But I feel like the rate should have been cut this time. And I pointed it out to him, and he didn't address a single talking point that I raised. He didn't address, he just ignored it and sent back and just said, here's what you owe and here's how you pay it and da-da-da-da-da. And that's all he said. I said, well, you can kiss my where, because I ain't going to, if you can't address some of the concerns I have and why you can't, or why they're not valid or whatever, even if the money stays the same, at least you can address what I ask. And he didn't address it, so I'm not paying nothing. Larry Fisher, have had a Kenmore fridge for years, ice maker, no problems. Yeah, back in the 70s, and probably 80s, you never had a problem with an ice maker. They worked 100%. But now that you pay 10 times more for a refrigerator, they don't work anymore. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Let's see. I guess that's it, guys. It looks like we're done. 165 viewers. That's better than we had on our live show. I hope that we'll probably do another live show this month and see how it goes. But if it doesn't do at least as well as my daily vlogs, I don't see any point in continuing, really. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But thank you all for being here. Thanks for all the nice compliments, comments, and everything. I appreciate it. We will see you tomorrow with something else, probably another section of wall, or at least the status of where I'm at on it. We'll see you then.